Thank you for taking the time to watch Getting Started with Glass.Mapper. In this video, I will show you how to install Glass and create your first models. For this demo, I'm going to use a very basic site. There's no CSS styling, no front-end work. I just want to focus on how we can use Glass to pull data out of Sitecore. First, let's look at the item that we want to pull data from. So this item just has a title and a text field and a series of child items. Next, let's take a look at what I have in my project. So I have a basic controller which just returns a view, a CSS.HTML page that isn't doing very much, and a view model which we'll use later. The first thing we need to do is actually install the Glass.Mapper framework. So to do this, we need to open the NuGet package manager and then look for Glass.Mapper.Sc.90. The reason it's 90 is because I'm using Sitecore version 9. If you're using a different Sitecore version, then you would use the appropriate version number. Now I can create my first Glass model. To do this, I just need to create a standard class, and I can call it anything. And then I need to create two properties to represent the fields I wish to map. So in our case, it was title and text. It's also important to mark all your properties as virtual, otherwise you may experience problems using Glass. Back in my controller, I can use one of the Glass services to pull data from Sitecore. In this case, it's the MVC context service. I can use one of the methods on this service to pull data directly from Sitecore and map it straight onto my model in a single line of code. Now all I need to do is render the properties in the CSS.HTML file. I can either do this using the standard MVC notation, or there are a set of helper methods that are provided by Glass that allow you to make fields editable within the page editor. With everything in place, let's build and see what happens. So back in my browser, if I refresh the page, we can see that Glass has pulled out the title and text from Sitecore and rendered it to screen. I want to make sure that my model can work with the page editor. So to do this, I need to add a property called ID to my model. This will allow Glass to link the model back to the original item. Okay, let's check out the page editor, and we can see now that my rich text field is now editable. The title field isn't because we didn't use the editable helper method in the CSS.HTML file. Okay, so let's try something a bit more complicated. We're going to add an image to our page, and this image is going to be in a field that contains a space. On our model, we need to add a property to map the image, and we need to make sure that that property has the return type image, which is a special Glass type. We also need to add some configurations so that we can put the field name in, because it contains a space and C# properties can't contain spaces themselves. In the CSS.HTML file, we can use a Glass helper method called renderImage, which allows us just to define the image property we wish to render and indicate if we should make it editable or not. Reloading the web page, and we can see now we have the lovely Glass logo displaying. The final thing I'm going to demo is rendering a set of links to the child items in our site. First, I need to create a new class to represent the child items. So I'm going to call this navigation item. And I'm just going to add a title and URL property. Next, on my home page model, I just need to map the navigation items. So I can add a property called navigation. I'm going to add the Glass configuration Sitecore children to it, which will indicate to Glass that it should map the child items. I don't need to make any changes to my controller, so straight into the CSS.HTML file. And now I can just loop through those navigation items and render out a list of links. If we then refresh the web page, we can see that we have a set of links at the top of the page. Thank you for taking the time to watch this Glass demo. If you're interested in learning more, head over to the Glass.Mapper website, where we have more information and a free introductory training course.